Hi.
Well, good morning. It's us again. It's Miss Mattie and this Miss
Hi.
Diane. Miss Diane, tell them hi.
Hi, everyone.
Miss Diane is our secretary here. We saw Miss Diana coming up here singing about something very important, and we said, "Come sing if you're happy." You know that good, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, here we go. We're gonna turn them on. Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
We better warm up first, okay? Let's do la
Okay.
la first.
Okay.
Oh la 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 la. You got it. La 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 la. La 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 la. Now we're gonna do little 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 a little 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 little. Last thing is lily. Lily 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 lily. A lily 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 lily. There we go. See, that warms your tongue up.
Yes,
See, it's a bad job being a tongue. You stay shut up in the mouth and it's wet and dark, and then you get lonesome.
That's right.
And then you go sing a song and you can open it up and your tongue gets to stretching and
Oh,
sees
yeah.
other tongues and everything. See, now this is the way you tell if it's really working.
Okay.
Put your fingers in your ears,
Okay.
tilt your head back and go. You got it. All right, we ready to go. Are you scared? We kind of got scary. This is kind of scary time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If anybody says boo to you or anything, will you holler? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Look out.
Boo.
Listen, I'm gonna show you. We're gonna skip something else. We're gonna show them. Here we go now. Do what I do.
Okay.
There's a great big something crawling across the floor. There's a great big something knocking on the door.
Oh my goodness.
There's a great big something, and it's floating here and there. There's a great big something coming through the air.
Oh wow.
There's a great big something, and it's moaning. Ooh. Cause that great big something is gonna get you.
Oh wow.
I scared you to death then.
Yes, ma'am. You did.
I'm telling you. Well, your check's in the mail. That was pretty good. What you think about that? Y'all can send your fan mail to the Piker Mill Wildflower Library in care of Miss Diana's show. Take a ride, Miss Diana.
Thank you.
See you later, alligator.
All right.
After a while, crocodile. Thanks, Diana.
You're welcome.
Did I scare her off?
You scared her away.
Aww.
Yeah, we have such a good staff at the library.
Yes, we do.
We kind of like family.
Mm-hmm.
We just all work together and have the most fun.
We
And
do.
a lot of times we just get folks to come be in the show with us. And that's so
Mhm.
much fun.
That's right.
Well, let's see. It's scary time now.
It is scary time now.
Let me see what I can think of. You know, owls are scary. Mhm.
Oh, but I like an
I like
owl.
them too, but it's something about they being out at night that they're scary, you know.
Maybe so. They do make a lot of noise.
Uh-huh. See, like you say, ponder them. You say, there's a great big owl with claws for its toes and two big round eyes and a sharp yellow nose. And he sits in a tree and he says, "Hoo hoo, hoo hoo, you better watch out because I'm gonna get you." I can scratch that. You know, that's what's so fun. Is to get real quiet, like kind of scared, and then go boo.
And
Let's
then
do,
say
ooh,
boo.
ooh, something's gonna get you. Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Ooh, 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 something's gonna get you. Boo! That's
It's
just like
always fun when you play pee-pie with the baby and stuff like that. Whenever we were small, we used to run and hide and jump out at people, and it's so much
Boo!
fun. Only when it happens to you, it's not really that much fun.
When you scare somebody else, it's okay.
That's right.
Well, let's see. Let's do. I tell you what. I got into Scooter Mouse's closet of stuff he likes this time of the year, and here's his pumpkins. Let's put them up here now. Isn't that pretty?
Oh,
He used
those
to
are
make
cute
all this
little
stuff.
pumpkins.
It looks kind of corny, but anyway, being a mouse, it's okay.
1,
Go ahead.
2, 3, 4,
Tell him.
5.
We're sitting there. Scooter Mouse, you need to get your pumpkin out. Well, he needs to get his pumpkin
He
out and get his
does.
friend Aaron to put it up. for
That's
him.
right.
Okay, here we go. Well, let's see. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 little pumpkins were by the garden gate, and the first one said, "Ooh, it's getting late." And second one said, "There's spooks in the air. And the third one said, we don't care. And the fourth one said, hey, y'all, let's run, run, run. And the fifth one said, yeah, we'll have a lot of fun. Now, you got to help us here. But then, ooh, went the wind. Make the wind. Ooh. And get ready now. And out went the light. And away they rode on a dark, scary night. Isn't that fun? I think that's cute. And pumpkins are everywhere, too.
They are.
Good gracious, they're at the grocery stores, and they're up at the places where they sell flowers, and I mean, just everywhere. They're all over. And they're on people's front porch.
They are.
And I got a big old fat one my friend Miss Lou gave me.
Oh.
And I have it sitting on my hearth at my house.
I've
It's
been
a
wanting to
great
get me
old
some pumpkins.
You have to get you a pumpkin.
Mhm.
Well, now let's see. Let's do, you remember we've done this once before called the Rhythm Gang. I always love to do this because everybody likes to clap.
Oh,
And
that's right.
This is stuff that is this time of the year. Schoolmouse made all this. And he lets me borrow it even though it's getting kind of old.
Well,
Now,
he always does so good.
and Miss Laura, that's a scary house right there. Look, that's old cat.
Okay, so are we going to put it first?
Yeah, okay. And then that's, everybody knows that's an autumn leaf.
leaf.
Now see here's that owl.
There's the
with
owl.
See there, with claws, large toes, and a sharp yellow nose.
But
Okay.
I like owls.
I really like them. I have one that comes to my house. I live in town, and he comes at my house at night. A few nights out here, just when it gets dark, and he'll go. Well, he goes, ooh, ooh, ooh. He's kind of ooh, 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 and I just love to hear him.
Oh, and there's a squirrel.
I think he comes because that's a good place in town to catch squirrels. Because there are lots of squirrels in town because everybody feeds the birds and the squirrels come into town, and then the hogs and the owls come because they like to catch squirrels.
Ooh.
Now here's a cat, black cat. There's a cat,
kitty.
a black cat lives down the street
Meow.
from me. Okay. And here's a spider. You know, we can do
Ah!
this. Let's do the itsy bitsy spider. Can you read? The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout.
Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and it dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
I think that's such a cute song.
It
Okay, now
is.
here's candy corn. Boy, that's a
Candy
big old whopper
corn.
piece too.
Ooh,
isn't it?
I like me some candy corn.
And here's a pumpkin.
There's a pumpkin
And here's a scarecrow.
and a
Now,
scarecrow.
how'd that poem go? 5 little scarecrows blowing in the wind, or in the wind they did blow. When the wind did blow, the scarecrows turned to and fro. And the first one said, I am very, very tall. And the second one said, well, I'm really kind of small. And the third one said, hey, how y'all like my new hat? And the fourth one said, look at there. There is the cat. And then the wind began to blow, and the scarecrows began to turn to and fro. That's a pretty good one.
It is.
And there's that little boy under there.
A little boy dressed up as a
ghost.
ghost.
In under Mama's old sheet.
Now here we go.
That's good. Now you remember we talked about you have to clap your hands. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4 rhythm. You know,
Okay.
I'll pat my knees. Okay.
Okay.
We'll all hop down there. Okay, y'all ready? Here we go now. Okay, let's start off with the spooky house. Ready? Oh, spooky house, what do you see? Well, I see a yellow leaf looking at me. Yellow leaf, what do you see? I see an owl and he's looking at me. Owl, what do you see? I see a gray squirrel looking at me. Gray squirrel, what do you see? I see a black cat looking at me. Black cat, what do you see? I see a spider looking at me. Spider, what do you see? I see candy corn looking at me. Candy corn, what do you see? I see a pumpkin looking at me. Pumpkin, what do you see? I see a scarecrow looking at me. Scarecrow, what do you see? I see a trick-or-treater scaring me.
Boo!
Boy, that was cute. Reckon they can count them. Let's see. 1, okay. 2, come on, count for me. 3, 4, 5, I don't hear you counting, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We should have counted. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, shut the door. 5, 6, pick up sticks. 7, 8, and lay them straight. 9, 10, the big fat hen.
Mm-hmm.
And 11, 12 says dig and delve. And 13, 14 says maids a courting. And 15, 16 says maids a waiting. And 17, 18 says, I forgot what that says, but 19, 20 says stop, Miss Mattie, you counted a plenty.
I've never heard that one.
I made that up. That was a trick. Now then, let's see what else we're going to do. Oh, let's see. We have to do the teeny tiny woman. What you think about that?
Oh, a teeny
Reckon that-
tiny
Yeah,
woman?
you have to say teeny tiny. And this is a trick.
Oh.
When I wink at you like that, you go, well, take it, as loud as you can. Can you say that?
Well, take it.
And you have to say 1, 2, 3, let's go. Well, take it. I hope they can do that. Okay, so
Okay.
everybody ready? Now I'm going to give you the wink, okay? Now you have to tell us, you have to make teeny tiny. Once upon, you could say that better than me. Your voice is clearer. Once upon a time, there was a teeny tiny little woman. That's very good. You do the teeny tiny. Now, she lived in a teeny tiny little house. And she slept in a teeny tiny little bed. And she ate at a teeny tiny, at the cutest thing, that little table. There's a little table there. There's her little teeny table. While she sat in a teeny tiny little chair. Now, one day, the teeny tiny little woman left her teeny tiny little house after she had gotten out of her teeny tiny little bed and eaten her breakfast at her teeny tiny little table. And she said, I'm going to go for a walk. And so the teeny tiny walking down. And she walked down to the old graveyard behind the cemetery.
Why did she do that?
Well, she just shouldn't have done that. And when she got back there, she saw a bone just laying in the grass. And she said, ooh, I'm going to get that bone and take it home and make me some soup. So the teeny tiny little woman ran back to her teeny tiny little house, and she got busy working at her teeny tiny little table. And she got her bone all washed up and pretty, and so she laid it on her teeny tiny table, and then she got in her teeny tiny bed, and she went to sleep. Get ready now. In the middle of the night, she heard something going clomp, 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 rattle, 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 clomp. It was coming in her house, and it said, I want my bone back. And the teeny tiny lady pulled the cover up on her teeny tiny bed, and she said it, heard it again. I want my bone back. And then she heard it coming through the kitchen where her teeny tiny little table and chair was. And she heard it coming down the hall where she was sleeping in her teeny tiny little bed. And so the teeny tiny little woman, and she sat up in the bed and she said, well, take it! That was a trick. Wasn't that fun? That's so silly.
That is silly.
You did very good on the teeny tiny.
But
Thank
it's
you.
so fun
But it
doing
was
silly
so fun.
stories.
That was silly, silly, silly.
I hope you're not scared.
I hope you won't have to sleep with your sister tonight and your brother. Oh, I'm scared, Miss Mattie and Miss Lars. They had scary stories about a teeny tiny woman and something coming after her.
And she had a big voice.
She hollered loud, didn't she? All right, now let's see Scooter Mouse. You know, Scooter Mouse, he did good. Scooter Mouse, she did good. See, he must have cut that little bitty lay out. Isn't that cute?
It is
Her little
cute.
hat.
That was some
little-
hard work.
Yeah, that was. Don't you love to do things like that? Things like that are called creative work.
It is creative
Just a
work.
lot of fun to do. Scooter Mouse always does lots of creative work with his
He
mouse ball.
sure does.
I wish he would be creative and open this bag up for me. There we go. Now we have to put the
Teeny tiny,
table up with the
teeny tiny,
with all of the what?
teeny tiny stuff.
All the teeny tiny stuff. Now then, let's
That
see.
was a good
That was a good
story.
story. Do we have time for another?
Let's tell another one.
Okay, let's do it. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we're gonna put this right down here now. And then we're going, oh, this is a great big box because it had a lot of Scooter Mouse's stuff in it. He must have had to work really hard on these because he had to cut out and just do a lot. He used things called blind boards. Now, turn that one around, that blind board around, and make it green so
Ooh.
that when we have the nighttime that comes up with the moon and the stars, they'll show up better on that.
Okay.
Okay, we got that now. He got that all figured out. Okay. All right, now this is a story about the littlest pumpkin, and it is my favorite story. I used to tell all the time. In fact, I told it so much that you could see that I had to patch Papa's breeches and his clothes and everything with tape. And then this is his little grandson right here. Okay, that probably gives you a tricky idea about how this story is going to turn out. All right, now y'all get ready. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Wiggle your shoulders and your nose. Now, no more wiggles are left, you see, and you can sit still and listen to me. Once upon a time, and Miss Laurie, isn't it funny that some of the best stories start off with once upon a time?
It does.
And they all usually end with, they lived happily ever after, the end.
The end.
Okay, let's y'all help us do once upon a time. 1, 2, 3.
Once upon a time.
Way out in the country, there was the cutest little house. That's a little bitty house. I like little houses because I have a little bitty house. Now, the little bitty house had a great big red barn beside it. And the barn had a great big apple tree. Here's the apple tree. There we go. Okay, now, there's the apple tree. Now, way out in front of the barn at the house, there was a field, and in the field, there was a great big tree growing. Now, I'm gonna take the house away, and I'm gonna take the barn away, and the apple tree away, so that I can put the field. Now, this is I didn't know there was a fox.
Oh, it's a fox. Hiding.
Yeah, he's hiding. Now, this is an old dead tree, and I think that probably there was an owl living in it, but I think the owl flew away.
Aw.
See, it doesn't have any leaves on it, you notice. Okay. Now, in the field, there was a lot of pumpkins because the man who lived there had planted some, and he was going to take them to the farmer's market, and he was going to sell them around Thanksgiving time. See, usually probably about, wouldn't you say the 1st of October is when you start seeing pumpkins everywhere?
Probably so.
So, because then people would want to have them for Halloween and for the fall decorations.
Right.
And then then later on for cooking pies.
Right.
And pumpkin bread. You know, our friend Miss Lou makes pumpkin bread.
Oh.
That's very good.
It sounds
You have to
good.
put cinnamon in it, I think.
Ooh.
Okay, now let's see. All right, now here are the pumpkins. I'm going to tell you about them. See, they're kind of like a family. They've all lived together in the field, and of course they got to know each other because they're growing. They all grew from seeds. I like him. He's pleasant looking and friend. See, it's just like a family. Some are grumpy. See, there you can tell he's grouchy. Gets up grouchy.
Oh, I was grouchy this week.
You were.
I
You to be
was.
grouchy.
I was grouchy
What
and
were you grouchy
grumpy.
about?
I don't know, but I woke up in a bad mood and I just wanted to stay in a bad mood.
Sometimes when you wake up and you're mad, you just like to stay mad. You really shouldn't do that.
Mm-mm.
But I mean, we all do that way sometimes. It just feels, I'm mad and it's just fun. You know that book about Ramona? You know, everybody remembers the Ramona book. Sometimes Ramona just enjoyed being mad. And
That's
then other
right.
times she enjoyed feeling sorry for herself. Poor little Ramona. I feel sorry for myself a lot of times. I think, poor little me. I'm so old and pitiful. And everybody needs to treat me sweet. Yeah, those are called feelings, aren't they?
That's right.
And then sometimes we just get up and the world is wonderful and we're in a good mood and everything great.
That's right.
And sometimes we get up and we feel brave and strong.
Mhm.
We feel like we could fight a boogeyman and kill
That's
him.
right.
So those are just feelings. But isn't that wonderful that we all have feelings?
That's
you know?
right.
Now let me see. Oh, here's some more pumpkins. And I may make everybody count these. Now then, here are 3 here, but they're all the same pumpkin. That's the little one. He's living in. Get over there by the. He is not gonna hurt you.
Oh, he's cute.
No, he's not. He's really cute. He said, "Hey y'all," he's friendly. He said, "Hi kids, it's me, the littlest pumpkin." He's so cute. And they all said, "Hush, be quiet. You're making a lot of noise." See, the other look. That I hate for him to have to be by that grouchy one. And see, this one's she's very snooty. She says, "Don't bother me. The ladies in the garden club are going to buy me, and I'm going to be a beautiful arrangement."
Oh, and we will be
shy.
sitting there with a spot of tea.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, she's going to be very. And then look, he's good natured. He said, "Oh, he's good natured." He said, "I hope some kids buy me and make me a jack-o'-lantern." And this one said, "Get quiet, everybody. I've got a headache." Grouchy. And here's another great. He said, he's kind of old. He was planted first. He said, "Now, children, y'all be sweet." Now, the pumpkins all talk to each other at night when the stars came out. Here we go, up here. I don't know where Scooter Mouse got those shiny stars, but aren't they pretty?
They are
They got that all
pretty.
fixed nice there. It's red ones and silver ones and green ones, and that's the moon up there too. So at night, when the moon came out and the stars came out, and the pumpkins were growing, they all talked to each other, just like family, you know. And this one would say, "Everybody please go to bed. It's after midnight. You know nothing good happens after midnight. Everybody needs to go to bed, go to sleep." I heard a preacher say that one time.
Yes.
Now, this one was grumpy, and he said, and he makes a lot of noise during the night. This one goes right off to sleep. But they grew and they talked to one another, and they said, "Oh boy, it's getting time for the farmer to come. And his old yellow truck, and he's going to load us up and take us into the farmer's market, and people are going to buy him." And the littlest pumpkin said, "Yeah, he's going to buy me, and I'm going to be a jack-o'-lantern." And they said, "You're not going to be anything. You're too little. He's probably going to leave you out here in the field and let one of the cows eat you." "Don't say that about me. He's not either. He's going to pick me, and he's going to take me to the farmer's market, and I'm going to be a jack-o'-lantern." Oh dear, that's just, I hear that all the time. "Oh, hush up. You always daydreaming about going to be a jack-o'-lantern. You ain't big enough to be nothing." "Don't say that to me. You hurt my feelings." He said, "Oh, little fella, don't pay any attention to him. He's just a grump." "Well, it hurt my feelings because I really will be a jack-o'-lantern." He said, "Well, we just hope so." Now they grew, and they grew, and they grew, and they grew, and sure enough, one morning very early, they heard this noise. Button, 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 dun, 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 bow, his old truck. And it was the farmer, and he came in his truck. Look at that.
Ooh.
And see, we couldn't make a truck big enough to put all those pumpkins in because we wouldn't end up running. That's the nicest thing about telling stories, and isn't that wonderful? That's called imagination and pretend. You can make anything happen, see?
That's right.
And so Scooter Mouse gave the old yellow truck, probably because he had some yellow felt, and he fixed the truck. And see, this is the granddaddy here. What should we name him?
Mr. George?
That's a very nice name, Mr. George. Okay, now this is Mr. George. And what do you think the little boy calls him now? This is a little grandson right here. Come here. This is Timothy.
Okay.
Now wait a minute. There we go. And that's Tim. And
Probably calls him Pawpaw.
I bet he does. Lots of kids call him Pop or Pawpaw. Okay. So anyway, now he didn't come with him because he's in kindergarten that day. He was coming. So that Pawpaw came. He looked around. He said, Well, boy, I got some fine looking little pumpkins here. I couldn't fool with very many of them because my back bothers me a lot, but I do like to go a few of them, take them into the farmer's market. My friend Mr. Bill got a little booth down there, and I'll get him to sell them for me. I expect I charge about $12 for them. We make enough money for me and Timothy. We can go somewhere and get us hamburger or something like that. I just do that for a hobby. Now the pumpkins all heard it. See, Miss George went on back in his truck, get in your truck, Miss George. Okay. And the pumpkins were so excited. They said, "Hey, did you hear that? It's time for him. He'll come with a sharp knife and cut that old stem off of us up there and put us in the truck. And then we go and see everything that's going on, and then people will buy us, and we can go to their houses and maybe get to go to a school with a bunch of kids. It's going to be a lot of fun. As the little folks said, "Oh boy, I can't hardly wait. I hope I get to go to a school with a bunch of children because I like children." You're not going to get to go anywhere. I told you they're not going to pick you. You're too little. You're just a squirt, and you'll probably sit there and rot. No, I won't. I'm not going to rot. Well, you're not going to get picked, so you might as well just hush. Just, you hate to be growing next to something like that, grouchy. The other guy said, "Don't worry, little guy." He said, "Oh, bless his heart, he thinks he's going to get picked, but he's not." See, he knew it. Now, the fox looked out. He said, "Hello there, little pumpkin." Little pumpkin wasn't scared of him. He said, "Hey, Mr. Fox, how you doing?" He said, "I'm just fine. I'm just slipping around looking for something to eat, but I don't like pumpkins." "Oh, I know you're looking for something else. I think foxes is pretty. You sure are pretty, Mr. Fox. You have a beautiful tail." Mr. Fox, "Thank you very much." That made really good friends with the fox because he was very proud of his tail. And the little pumpkin was just being honest. He thought it was real pretty. Well, now, sure enough, on a Wednesday morning, there was a racket, and it was the truck coming. But now, see, the farmer's market wasn't until Thursday, but the granddaddy had to get the pumpkins and get them all cleaned off, make sure they looked really good. And the littlest pumpkin got so excited he nearly split right open. He said, "Oh boy, here comes the farmer. Me, Mr. Farmer, get me first, Mr. Farmer. I can sit up on the front seat with you." The farmer can get him first. He walked right over there and he got the great big one. He said, "Boy, howdy, I believe I could charge $15, $20 for that. And isn't that thing beautiful?" And she said, "Goodbye, everybody. You can look for me in a picture in the Martha Stewart magazine." Then the littlest pumpkin said, "Get me next, get me next." But he didn't get him next. He got Grouch next. "Ha ha, I told you, squirt. Shut up, you're giving me a headache. And here, I hope he puts me in that truck. Don't put me up close where I'll get mashed. Be careful." Oh, he went off grouching and fussing. The littlest pumpkin said, "Me, get me. When we come on now, Granddaddy, you'll go." The little pumpkin, he came up and he looked at him, and the little pumpkin shut his eyes. He said, he's been to cut me. He fixed to cut, but he didn't. The little pumpkin opened one eye and he looked. He said, "Well, he's gonna come back and get me in a minute." And the fox was watching, and he got the next one, and then he got the next one, and then the littlest pumpkin said, "Now he got me." And the truck is all filled up with pumpkins, but he probably won't let me sit up in the front because he is proud of me, but he didn't.
Oh.
He went right over there and got in that truck and cranked up that truck and went off.
Poor little pumpkin.
He couldn't believe it.
So he was left to rot.
And he was quiet. He said, "Mr. Fox, the farmer didn't take me. What all the other pumpkins said about me, laughing at me, making fun of me, oh, it was true. And I'm probably going to have to stay here and I'd probably get eaten up by the cows and the crows or something terrible like this. I'll probably rot. I can't help it. I'm so sad." Now wait, I'm going to show you Scooter Mouse maybe. A sad one if I can get it up. Y'all just be patient with me now. Okay, yeah, here he is. He's crying. Poor little fella. Now wait a minute. Here we go. Oh, poor little me. I can put him right there, and we're going to take him right there. See, because he's not happy now. He's crying. Can y'all see he's crying? He's got little tears. I don't know how Scooter Mouse did that. His tears were coming down his little pumpkin face. He was so pitiful. Even the fox felt sorry for him. He said, "Don't cry, son. You're a fine little pumpkin. You say such nice, pleasant things, and you're just such a great little fella." Well, it's nice for you to say that, but it does not be true, because the farmer just walked right by me. He just left me here. Well, it was really sad, because nighttime came soon. And the owl that flew away came back, but I don't know where he is. But anyway, he sat up in the tree and said, hoo, 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 hoo. Poor little pumpkin. The old yellow cat. You remember that cat named Butter? You remember when Scooter Mouse named him Butter because he was yellow?
Mhm.
There he came over. He felt so sorry for him. He said, please don't cry, little pumpkin. I think you're real nice. And he snuggled up by the little pumpkin. Little pumpkin had cried and said, have you ever cried so hard that you just were worn out and you went to sleep? That's called crying yourself to sleep.
That's right.
He did. And he cried and he cried and look, he got right up close to that cat. He wasn't allergic to him. He got right up close to him, and the cat purred, and Zuzu and cats go, zoo, 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 and the little pumpkin went off to sleep. And the poor little fellow, he dreamed about being a jack-o'-lantern with the children. You know, that's when you make a little hole in them, put a little candle in them, and big old happy smile. And the cat went away then, and the little pumpkin was asleep. Now, he was just sleeping and sleeping. All of a sudden, he heard a noise. See, morning had come. He was still sleeping because he cried a long time, and therefore he slept a long time because he was tired. Now, let's see, pull that off, okay? This story will work you to death, Miss Long.
It will.
All right, now here we go. Bun, 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 and there came the truck again. Now, the littlest pumpkin, he looked, and he said, I wonder what the farmer's coming back for. Now, watch this. I'm gonna move the truck right here. And I'm gonna put the little pumpkin here just at the center stage so you can watch it. Now watch this. Granddaddy came right over there. And then he said, hey, Timbo, come on, look here, I saved you. I saved you. Did you hear that? And this little boy who was 5 years old, on the 9th of October, that was his birthday. He had just gotten to be 5, and he went to kindergarten, and he was in Miss LaWanda's kindergarten class. And look, he ran over there and sat down by that little pumpkin. And he just patted it and he said, oh, Pawpaw, is this a special little pumpkin that you saved me to take to school so we could have him? The little pumpkin baby, he said, I must be having a dream. This little boy, and he's patting it. He said he's going to take me to school with him. And do you know that they picked him up and put him, I want him to ride in the truck. I want him to ride up on the front seat of the truck with the little boy. Let's put him right up there. Now he's right up in there in that front seat of that truck. You can't see him, but he's there, and he said, Timothy, you get in there. Okay, see? Okay. And he was in there with him, and they rode back home, and when they got home, Granddaddy got his sharp knife out, and they got all the seeds out of the little pumpkin, and fixed him with a happy, happy, jolly smile, and then they put a little candle in him and lit him, and he just smiled all over the place. And the next morning, the little boy's granddaddy took him to kindergarten, and everybody was so thrilled, and they sang, Jack, Jack-o'-lantern, I wonder if you know, when you are lighted, your crooked teeth will show. Jack, Jack-o'-lantern, you are a fearful sight, outside my window this cold October night. Woo! Wasn't that good? That's a good story.
That was a good
I
story.
thought that was a really good story.
It is.
One of my favorite stories in the whole wide world.
Oh.
Too bad our director, Miss Darlene, wasn't here. We could have let her be part of the program.
That's right.
She sure could. She would have loved it. She
I
wouldn't have charged us
know,
anything.
she would.
We had a fine time. Y'all come back. Let's tell them goodbye.
Okay.
Goodbye, goodbye. We're glad you came today. Goodbye, goodbye. We're glad you came to play. Jack, Jack-o'-lantern, you are a beautiful sight outside my window this cold, dark night. Boo!
Bye.
Woo!